All right, we are in Book 1 of the Aeneid. The last thing that happened is the big storm, and everyone was crashing and dying, and Neptune put his head out of the water and looked around. So we are in line 128 in Book 1. Disiectam Aeneae toto videt aequore classem fluctibus oppressos Troias caelique ruina. Disiectam, we can tell from the it's accusative. It goes with something feminine. And you can see this word has a prefix on it, dis, and then iectam. Iectam is from iachio, to like throw, and dis can mean like yikio, yikere, yeki, yectus. Like down or away. So it's sort of a negative prefix. So disiectam means scattered. So like thrown around, dispersed, which we've seen a few times relating to the ships. Aeneae is obviously Aeneas. Aeneas is genitive, and he's first declension, which is kind of tricky. So if you looked up Aeneas in the dictionary, it says Aeneas I am. Whenever you're looking for what declension a noun belongs to, you always look at the second one because it always tells you for sure. And this is one of the rare first declension words. Usually they go I, like puella, puellae, but not Aeneas. He goes I. Still first declension, so he takes all the first declensions and was it I, arum, is, as, is. And he's masculine. There are a few first declensions that are masculine. So if you were going to say happy Aeneas, you'd say lai tus, Aeneas. So it's going to seem like it's conflicting endings. One of them masculine. So the accusative would be lai tum, Aeneam. So usually you don't see us and endings mix, but if the noun is actually masculine, you will. Okay, so Aeneas is genitive. The scattered something of Aeneas. Toto videt aequore classem. Well, when you get to classem, you can see that that's accusative third declension. So that's a nice thing to take.
Jordan Kitchens, please come to the front office. Jordan Kitchens, come
your
to the front office.
Adjective with. So it's a scattered classem. Classem is, you might think of class, but a class are a whole bunch of people who come together, and a classem is a whole bunch of ships that come together. It's a fleet. And it's feminine. And you can maybe remember that with ships are feminine, and so a group of ships, a classis, it's going to be feminine as well. Toto aequore, the book told me it's out of place where, so in the entire sea, or on the entire sea, videt. And here our subject is going to be Neptune, because he just poked his head out of the water, so of course he's going to see something. He sees the scattered fleet of Aeneas on the entire sea, or ocean, or waters, or waves, aequore, or all those things. There's a nice little word picture. It's not too distinct, but the ships are scattered, and so they're all over the place. And you can tell disiectam and classem are far apart from one another, so it's like they're scattered on the line. And you could also call this an enclosed line because of the two bookends of the line. And it's not quite a chiasmus here because there's too many extra words, but there's a nice A, B, B, A with your disiectam, toto, aequore, classem. I wouldn't call that a chiasmus, but it may help you remember how the sentence goes together if you see it again. So he sees all that. And then fluctibus oppressos Troias caelique ruina. Fluctibus is obviously either ablative or dative plural. Ibus, when you see that, it should automatically dative or ablative plural come to mind. If you have to guess one, you guess ablative. Ablatives are far more common than datives. But datives you're going to see with words like to give something to someone or to send something to someone. They really want datives. So probably ablative here, it's safe to assume. So buio fat, by, with, in, on, from, at, than. Opressos, os ending, has to be accusative plural. Troios looks weird, and the book tells me it's a Greek accusative. Of course, the Trojans have sort of a Greek title, and it goes with opressos because they're both accusative there. And then kailique ruina. Yes?
I was wondering if that PowerPoint was good enough.
I haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, just wondering.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right. Ruina is ablative. And you could either scan it, but at the end of the line, it's not going to help you very much. I looked in the book. I cheated. And these are still, the Opressos Troios are still the things that he sees. He sees the fleet, and the Trojans, Opressos is like oppressed, but it really means like pushed down, crushed, overwhelmed. Overwhelmed with the Flukdibus and with the Ruina of the Caelum. So with the waves and with the sort of downfall of the sky, which is a very, the book says it's hyperbole. I think it's very evocative of the storm, right? That the sky is falling. Nec lature doli fratrem Eunones et Irai. If you just have one neck, it means and not. If you have two necks, you're going to have neither this nor that. So he saw this one thing, and something did not happen. Lature, it looks like an infinitive. Things that can help you see that it's not an infinitive. There's that U there, and U's signify perfect stems. So if the infinitive ending were really an infinitive, it wouldn't look very perfecty in the stem. So the U will help you. And also, there's no other verb. And there's no reason for there to be an infinitive, really. There's no like indirect statement or words that take infinitives or anything like that. So we're not expecting an infinitive. And in fact, latuerunt. It's really to like lie hidden. We get the word latent from this, like a latent talent is a hidden talent. Doli are tricks, and here's our nominative. Tricks are frauds. Fratrem, accusative. Of course, Eunones is the genitive of Juno. Et Irai is our other nominative. So the tricks and the anger did not escape the notice of the brother of Juno. So for lature, when I was translating this, when I see that word, lature, it's lateo, latere, my immediate definition is to hide or to be hidden, is what that means. And so I had some trouble putting the sentence together because I kept saying the tricks did not lay hidden the brother of Juno. Well, that doesn't make any sense. So when I looked in the book, it gave me another definition, to escape the notice of, right? It's to be hidden so someone didn't notice it. And that makes more sense when you're translating, right? The tricks did not escape the notice of the brother of Juno. So if there's any thing like this when you guys are translating, either a word that you think means one thing and means something else, or if there's really one special way of translating the word that will make sense in this context, it's really important that you write it down so that in March and April when we're reviewing, you don't have to look up all these words all over again, right? You've already done the hard work and you don't have to, do it all over again. So I made sure I wrote that down, and I'll remember that next time I see lateo. All right, Iorum ad se zephyrumque vocat. I like to stop whenever there's a verb, so I'll stop there. Iorum, accusative. Remember the Eurus is one of those winds. You don't have to remember which ones they are. I can never remember which one's which. You can just call it the Eurus. Ad se, to himself. Zephyrumque, and the zephyr. Zephyr is a word we use in English too, so that might sound familiar to you. Vocat, he calls. So he calls the Eurus and the Zephyr to him. These are two of the winds. De hinc talia fatur. Then de hinc again. When I see de hinc, I think from here, which is more of a physical connecting word, and this is used here more as a logical connecting word. Then he said talia such things. And he's going to give a little speech. De hinc is a synesis, which is hard to say for me. They're pretty rare, and it's when you contract two syllables into one for the sake of meter. So this would be dank. It's like the E and the I become a diphthong. And if you're scanning this, it would be long because of the N and the C and the T. Okay, so Neptune is speaking now to the winds. Tantae nevos generis tenuit fiducia vestri. So this is sarcasm. Tanta goes with fiducia. Vos means y'all, and it can be nominative or accusative. But if you see the verb tenuit, the T tells us it can't be the subject because it would be tis, right? Y'all did something. So this must be accusative. Something holds y'all. Generis is the genitive of genus, generis. Genus can mean lots of things. Here it means birth. So fiducia, I'll try my page. Fiducia is confidence or trust. And then vestri is also genitive. So there we have our vestri. It goes with generis. And so tanta fiducia must be the subject. Does such great confidence of y'all's birth hold you? It's like, are you so confident in where you come from? The book tells you that they are descended from Aurora, the goddess of the dawn, and from, I can't read this guy's name. It looks weird in my book. Astraeus, maybe? A Titan rival of the gods. So, do you have so much confidence in your birth? Iam caelum terramque meo sine numine venti miscere. Now, caelum, terram are both accusative. Meo sine numine. When you see sine, it's one of those prepositions that take the ablative. So you're expecting ablatives, and both meo and numine are ablatives. Venti, he's talking to the winds. So this isn't nominative, it's vocative, even though they look exactly the same. The nominative plural is venti. The vocative plural is also venti. But you can tell by its use that it's vocative. Winds. Now, the sky and the earth, without my numen. This is another one that I had trouble with, because numen, when I think of it, I think of divinity. It's the thing inside of gods that makes them special, that makes them gods. So I looked it up, and it said divine power, and that made more sense. Without my divine power, my divine will, not my divinity. I kept going back and forth and trying to figure out what that meant. We still don't have a verb. Miscere. Et tantas audatis tollere moles. Miscere looks like an infinitive and is an infinitive because of audatis, and the book will help you out with that. Audeo audere is to dare, and it takes infinitives. They're called complementary infinitives. And so whenever you have things like infinitives, sometimes you want to identify why is there an infinitive there. So a word like to dare, it doesn't mean anything on its own. You can't just like stand in a room and say, I dare. You have to dare to do something. So it almost has no meaning until you add a second word. And so that's why these are called complementary. They're complementary angles in geometry. They complete the meaning. So it's that complete of complementary, not complementary. Complementary with an I means like, oh, you're so pretty today. That's a compliment. Other words like wolo, wele, always likes to have complementary infinitives. You can want a thing, like I want food, Or you can want to do something. Like, I want to go to the store to buy food. And so that infinitive is called a complementary infinitive. It completes the meaning of wanting, because wanting by itself doesn't really mean much until you add something to it. So, do you dare to mix these things up without my power and tolerate, to raise up tantas moles? Moles is a great word. It's a mass or a burden or a heap, and it sounds very awkward in English. I love it. To raise up such great heaps, such great masses. But that's what it is. Moles, we get the word demolition, right? De means down, and so like when you take a heap and you tear it down, it's demolition. We get audacious, right, from audatus, audeo, audere. If you're audacious, you're very daring. Quos ego sed motos praestat componere fluctus. Quos ego is a very famous example of something called aposiopesis. This is when you start a sentence and it breaks off at the end, a lot of times because the speaker is emotionally overwhelmed and can't just put himself together enough to finish a sentence. Quos is the accusative plural of qui, quae, quod, whom, and it's that, it's a plural whom, y'all whom, and then ego's nominative, who, y'all whom I, ... So whenever a sentence is broken off, we never know what he is going to say, because he says, but, he interrupts himself. Motos praestat componere fluctus. Motos is accusative plural. Fluctus is fourth declension, so it can be hard to identify which us that is, because there's so many uses in the fourth declension. Us, ui, u, us, ibus, us, ibus. It's the last one. Praestat, you can see it's really sto, stare, and pri, which means before. So this is something, it stands before. It is more important. It surpasses. It is better. It's better to componere the motos fluctos. Motos is the fourth principal part. It's a participle of moeo. Moeo, moere, moe, motus. Moved. So it is better to componere is to calm or something like that. To calm the moved waves. So praestat's here, it's impersonal. There's not really a subject. We just say it. Okay, so he starts talking to, he's probably gonna, vituperat them, but he says, okay, now I have to get to business. I have to calm these winds before I yell at you. Post mihi non simuli poena commissa luetis. So after that, mihi can only be dative to or for me. Non simili poena. OE is a diphthong, even though it's pretty rare. So if you see one of these and you were trying to scan this, that would be one syllable and it would have to be long, because OE is a diphthong. Oi, poena, commissa luetis. Here we do see our tis ending. That means y'all. So he's talking to the winds and he says, y'all will do something. Afterward, y'all will, luo, luore, means to atone for. You'll atone for the commissa. This is our neuter plural A. That's both nominative and accusative. It's not the feminine A. So the faults are crimes. Crimes is probably better here. Y'all will atone for the crimes mihi, to me, non simili poena, in a not similar punishment. So like in different punishments. Non simile is a good example of litotes. Litotes, litotes, where you describe something by saying what it's not. So instead of saying in different or differing punishments, you say not similar punishments. So let me calm these things down, and afterward you're going to get it. Just to make sure you see that luetis is future. It's hard to see these futures, the ones that have the E, but since it's third conjugation, it goes luo, luere. The future doesn't go bo bis bit, it goes ace, et, amos, etis, ent. So if it were present, it would be luitis with an I. And when you change that I to an E, it makes it future tense. So those are hard to see. But the post helps you with that. Afterward, you will do something. Excuse me. All right, moving right along. Line 137. Maturate fugam, regique haec dicite vestro. Maturare it's a synonym for festinare, to hurry, or to hasten, which is an old-fashioned word. So hasten the fuga, the flight. So like get on with it and leave. So hasten the flight, and it's imperative, maturate. Maturare, to make it plural imperative, you change the R to a T, maturate. So hasten the flight, like hasten your escape. Regique haec dicite. Dicite is another imperative. Haec is that neuter plural of hic haec hoc, these things. Say these things. And when I was talking about words that want datives, to say is a word that likes a dative. Say something to someone. So if you see the word saying or giving or sending, those are words that you want to make sure you're looking for datives. Datives are rare. They're the rarest case that you'll see. And so tell these things, regi vesto, to y'all's king. On the AP test, if you say to your king, it'll be counted right. But I like to make sure that we know that that's vestro's second person plural. Okay, so he's going to say, tell Aeolus all this stuff. Non illi imperium pelagi saevumque tridentem, sed mihi sorte datum. Illi is a genius dati word, right? Genius, where it has regular endings except for the genitive and the dative, where the genitive is ius and the dative is I. This is that dative I. Not to him, imperium pelagi, the power of the sea, saevumque tridentem, and the harsh trident, or the savage trident. Sed mihi, but to me, sorte datum. Sorte is an ablative of soars, chance. By chance, by luck, by fate, by destiny. Datum esse. It was given. And so we have an infinitive here, and our subjects are accusative. Imperium's a subject and tridentum's a subject. Because of the dicite, it introduces an indirect statement. Say to him that it is not for him, right? The power of the sea and the savage trident were not given to him by chance, but to me. And datum, the dative case is named after the verb to give, right? You give something to someone. So that's a good indication that you're going to have a dative when you see datum. And so that's infinitive. It's the verb in an indirect statement. So in English, we would put the illi and the mihi last, like these things were given by chance, not to him, but to me. And they are here. There's a good parallelism of where they are in the line. They're both the second word in each line. And they're at the beginning, which makes them important. In Latin, especially in writing, where we might underline something in English, or if you're on the computer, italicize it. In Latin, you can move it to the beginning to show that it's important and emphasize it. Tenet ille imania saxa. Ille is nominative, and imania saxa is neuter plural. It's always good to be able to recognize that neuter plural a, because it often confuses people thinking that it's feminine. So if it ends in an a, it can be nominative or accusative. Here it can't be nominative. Tenet is singular, and we already have a nominative ille, and there's no et, right? If there were an et, you could say this guy and these things. So it must be accusative, not nominative. So that guy holds Emania just means enormous. Enormous rocks. He's talking about the cave. Like, where does he have power? So he doesn't have power in the sea, and he doesn't have power of the trident. That guy holds power, right? He holds huge rocks. Westros Iore Domos. Y'all's houses. And Iore is the vocative of Iorus. Only words that end in us change in the vocative. All the other ones, it's the same in the nominative and the vocative. So Iorus goes to Iore. Ila se iactet in aula. Aeolus. There's our subject. Et clauso ventorum carcere regnet. Ila goes with aula. They're both ablative. And Aeolus is our subject. Aeolus se iactet. It means like he throws himself about. So he throws himself about in Ila Aula, in that court. Like, that's his palace. Aeolus throws himself about in that court, and we're not done there, sorry. Iactet is a volative subjunctive, or volative subjunctive. That means that it's sort of like a wish for him. And in English, we would probably translate it like, let him do this. Let him throw himself around in that palace, and let him clauso ventorum carcere regnet. Let him rule his shut-up prison of the winds. And by shut up, it's that idea of like the cave in the mountain. It's closed off. It's like Clausus is closed. Enclosed, you might say, the enclosed prison of the winds. All right, that's a speech, so we'll stop there.